I was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. Oh, all my friends are turning green. You're the magician's assistant in their dreams. Oh, and they come unstuck. Lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I want to be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing this song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong.
It was perfect. What are you afraid of? Nobody's now. That's the bar. I'm gonna ask everybody else that comes on the show to pay attention.
I practiced that.
Take a look. Did you really? While you're driving, you're singing it.
Repeat.
Agnes, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. It was great that you reached out, and all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I want to help you out and just figure out what's going on and update it. And I know we talked briefly just before we started rolling.
Reconnecting.
Lots of going on in your life.
We do. We have a lot going on personally. We have a lot going on work-wise, and all of it's super good. And I'm really, really excited. I kind of feel like everyone's coming out of the woodwork, and for us and for me, I'm ready to lean right back into it. Like just to make all these connections and have these opportunities. I'm ready to go.
It's been like 4 years. Are we going to say 3.5 years?
I'm trying to remember. So the building show we met.
On the building show, which would have been...
I did one podcast with you very briefly at Informa head office.
Yes.
And then we wanted to chat further. You guys were at the building show.
We did the show. We walked around. We stopped at your booth, NextGen booth.
Yeah, and that was so much fun. Thank you for
doing that.
That was
very cool. It was down, and the show was good. It was great. But that was before the whole madness thing. And then you guys are, I guess, technically a virtual. No, you're not virtual.
We've always been virtual.
Yeah.
So even before the world kind of discovered how amazing this hybrid work from home model could be, we were already doing.
You were working that.
Yeah, we were already working that. So for us, it was just a relief to have a lot of clients start to capitulate to that way.
Yeah.
Because we were always banging our head against that wall. But yeah, at the building show, I think that was 2020.
It's all a blur. Honestly, it's a blur.
Yeah.
But here we are now. Okay,
yes.
So here we are. And then a lot going on in your personal life. And welcome to the show. So you've got the NextGen thing still going on.
Absolutely.
And then you're also with WiTT, right? So WiTT.
I'm not with them.
Oh, no, working with them.
I'm not working with them. So what I do is because of my background and my network, we collaborate with them.
Got it.
I try to bring a lot of people out to the events that they're having. WiTT is Women in Technology and Trades. They're out of Mohawk College, which has a phenomenal technology program, architectural sciences, urban planning. They do civil engineering or civil technology. It's just a number of groups, and WiTT is really a think tank for women in these areas because we're still definitely lower in percentages of women who are joining. And then on top of it, they help create pipelines for these women to get into different job avenues, different support avenues. Some of these people are second careers. Some of them are immigrants. Some are just young women who really
it's all good on so many levels.
It's all good. And they're consistent.
Yes.
As an organization goes, they are consistent. They're reputable. So I've always stood behind them. And this year I've decided to sponsor a table, which I'd asked, but you're busy that day.
I know, We're constantly recording, but I mean, like you reached out and let's do this. We're going to talk about, I want to talk about NextGen. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about what else was going on in the industry. So I just want to let everybody know, Agnes is here from NextGen Professional. So it's www.nextgenprofessional.com. And the email is agnes@nextgenprofessional.com. And on Instagram and also LinkedIn, you'll find it if you just type in NextGen. So NextGen Jobs is on Instagram, but you'll find everything there. I want to do a quick shout out to John McNeil Construction. I've got his hoodie on. I do this thing. I don't know if you know, but every single show I'm wearing somebody else's tee. Nice. So if you send me a nice extra large, I'll put it. If you send me a medium, you'll get a little Christina Aguilera belly there, but I'm not going to do that. So XL, everybody telling me, and I'll definitely wear someone else's tee.
I got to get some swag.
That's it. XL, all right? Or otherwise it's going to be genie in a bottle, right? So we don't want that. Where do we want to begin, Agnes? How do you want to It's been a nice ride for you so far, but I love that you're a champion for pushing construction and pushing people in construction on such positive levels.
You know, the one thing over the years, so I've been doing this for about 10 years, and being a woman in construction, being an individual who really didn't have any mentorship or anyone who could take me through the ranks, I've become an advocate for it because I think that's what we're missing. I agree. We're missing some sort of leadership that's not, they'll figure it out, or let them sink or swim, or that's how you learn. No, we should probably teach them properly. These are the homes, the houses, the condos, the schools, the bridges that are going to take us over the next 200 years. Let's do it properly. Yeah. So I am an advocate for it, and it's difficult. It's our small little organization, but we love collaborating with people like you and in different organizations and groups, and just seeing who we can get to come out and show up.
What was the nucleus of it? I mean, 10 years ago when you and your husband were looking at it and starting it, were you seeing all the holes in the industry and realizing, wait a minute, we can contribute to helping this?
It's, I don't come from recruitment. So my background is not in sales.
No, you've got construction background.
In my blood, my father's a general contractor. I grew up in the trades. My brother's an engineer. I went to a vocational trade school. I did not underwater welding. That was my dream. But I did do welding. I worked in sort of tool and die. It really came out when I went to university for psychology, so helping people. And then fell right back into construction. So finished my degree, fell right back into construction, and through my awareness of psychology, realized the gaps. I fell ass backwards into recruitment, and then that just led me further down, opening up that hole and seeing so many different employers and so many different candidates, and hearing all of their stories from both sides of the table, and realizing there was just a disconnect. So I think that's why I've just tried or had NextGen champion that reaching through that disconnect. So when we work as a recruitment agency, it's not just, here's a resume, slap it down, hire somebody.
It's further than that.
Yeah. What are your goals? What are you trying to get to? What's your career pathway for the employer? Do you know what you want from this person? Are we going to, have that conversation of a culture fit, not just a technical fit? So we really try to get underneath and make sure the fit's long term.
Are there certain ingredients to everybody that wants to get into construction? Is there kind of a pattern? Because we always say that we're a colorful cast of characters that want to get into this industry, right? Like, you've got to kind of be a special breed of person to come into this industry.
Yeah. Somebody who's not afraid of hard work. It is hard work.
Yeah.
And I don't mean physically. That's one complete aspect. I mean, you've worked on a reno job. Yeah. Like, you open up a wall and you've opened up a can of worms. Like, you do not know what's going to be underneath there.
Surprise.
Surprise. When you're working on a new build, and all of a sudden you've got to work with cities and their permitting department and the red tape, and are we doing this by the book? And there's just so many different components. I know construction's not just construction. It's this umbrella term for all the amazing things that are, design, pre-construction, materials, supply chain, the actual building, construction management, the contracts, through to commissioning of the building. Like, it's a big plethora. It's hard work. So people who are dogged and determined to get from the start of a project to the end, I think that's really the culture fit.
But it's such satisfaction at the end, though.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
When you do it, and I've spoken about it, so many trades have been on the show, and so many industry people have been on the show. There's that, like a pound of passion when you finish a project and you look at what you achieved in your team, the people associated, like the goals, and you're just so proud of it. We have our ups and downs. Every industry has ups and downs, right? There's negatives attached to anything, but there is that passion attached to it.
Yeah, and that passion is something that I hear resonating when we talk to candidates, to hear them talk about their projects. And then you can get a really amazing sense that that person is genuinely passionate about their job when they talk about their projects. So that would be an excellent candidate for somebody, because they're going to see the project through.
So when we went through the whole the world. I get tired of using the associated
Agreed.
words or whatever. I know that off mic we were talking briefly that it changed the way you guys looked at it. Even though you built such a platform that kind of connected with what was going on, it still changed your platform. It changed the way you were speaking, I guess, to candidates and people that wanted to get into this industry.
Yeah, we pivoted and started to do a lot more work ourselves. So before COVID and all that, as we were chatting, we had great footholds into community groups, into associations, just like WiTT at a Mohawk and different schools. We had these groups that were willing to do something. And then all of a sudden, the world turns upside down and everything we had built, because developing relationships take time.
Yep.
And everything we had built had completely fallen apart. And it sucked.
Did it disappear or did it stop or did it
just stopped? Like the momentum that you built just right back down. And that was okay, because we decided that maybe we shouldn't be leaning so hard outside of our organization. Maybe it was us that needed to pull up our bootstraps and do something. So we actually have a YouTube channel. So you can go on YouTube and go to nextgenprofessional.com.
Nice. Okay.
We started recording and they're not nearly anything like this. So, awesome.
No, but the messaging is out there.
The messaging
That's
out.
what's important.
And we said, let's help people who really need it right now, because we didn't know what the market was going to do. We didn't know if people were going to be let go from organizations or whatever the case was. So we went on YouTube and we started recording off of Zoom seminars. And this was our experience, our time to just help people. So we did a couple of recordings of women in construction. So I had reached out to my network, found a couple of women, recorded us talking about really important issues with women in construction. And these women came from leadership, and some of them were even junior. Just different points of view. We started doing interview seminars that we were recording. So basically, what are hiring managers looking for during the interview process? What are they looking for with junior people? And I went out and I recorded our clients talking about what they're looking for.
What did you discover? Some of the key things that you discovered from speaking and recording.
They're looking for a personality.
Okay.
Technical is something we can always teach somebody. Personality is really what's going to make that person fit long-term in an organization.
I agree.
And it's so important for the candidate and the client to realize that they're on the same page with that, because I think sometimes candidates can go in an interview and they're so excited and they want the job. And then maybe they create a persona, but that's not going to be, so they sell themselves, which is great. I mean, you're in an interview for a particular reason. But is that actually the culture that you want long-term? So I think asking questions as a candidate about the culture of an organization is really important for you to understand if that's where you want to be. So.
When do you bring up money? Because what I get from a lot of the younger is money's not first, not always, but it's there.
Yeah. So just because we're a little different, so you're probably hiring individuals directly.
Yeah.
With our organization, we do ask candidates who are basically junior through to intermediate to not discuss salaries. Our clients know not to discuss that as well. That is a negotiation that our brand,
your brand does.
We take that over. Mostly because and we can talk about it, but all companies have a different package. They offer different perks, different benefits, whatever you want to call it. No two seem to be the same. I've rarely had a direct match. It would be detrimental to the process if that was not communicated properly between an employer and a candidate. It could definitely ruin a really great relationship and a potential placement for us. So we actually manage that entire process.
It's actually ironic because I know that everybody that I've met through this industry, they got into it because of the passion side of things. Yeah. They never really discussed money at first.
Right.
And we've done so many jobs and we work so many hours that, when you actually sit down and calculate, we didn't really make that much money, but the fulfillment attached to what we just accomplished is huge, right?
Right.
And I think that we tell all the people that are just getting into the industry not focusing on that money aspect of things and not to ignore the passion side of things. And I think, and I'm also going to speak to the older ones as well, because we constantly we're unemployed all the time and we get a new job all the time. We're always hired and fired all the time, right? So it's just like you finish a job and you get out of it and then you're gone and now I'm unemployed again. And then you keep on. That's our industry, right? So I think that even the old people, like the older trades, you'll do a huge service if you actually don't continue focusing on the money. You just focus on what you're passionate about. And I think that goes to the young getting in, the old staying in, and the old staying in, right?
Yeah. And I think about finances and money, it is a good industry. I think there's a misnomer there that, construction doesn't pay well or whatever. I can tell you, they pay really well.
Yeah.
You might not start off with what you're looking for in the industry, but I mean, what industry doesn't take a junior person and make them cut their teeth into the market, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe let's not slap that on that label on construction as an industry. Because of the shortages we're having, which I'm starting to realize the shortages in multiple different industries, but because of the shortages we're happening, you will have opportunities when you get into this market to expedite your growth and show your worth.
That's a fact, by the way.
And that is a fact.
Yeah.
I have candidates calling me saying, I have no business being a director right now. I'm in my 30s. I'm a director, running some of them $50-60 million jobs. And they know. Wow. And they know that they need help. They need coaching. They need some sort of mentor leadership. It's an amazing opportunity. It's also scary for the future of construction, because now what's going to happen is you're expediting a whole bunch of young individuals who might not be ready for these leadership positions, but there's no choice because leadership is exiting, right? And I brought.
Do you have like some? I mean, we talk about it, but we don't have any hard numbers regarding how big is this gap in construction.
Okay, it's not just in construction. So
it's it's a bunch.
There's a shortage that I think is going to be happening in multiple industries. Just because I have kind of boots on ground with other recruitment agencies as well that are not just construction specific. Construction, we're already behind for decades.
That much?
Yeah, I would say decades. The amount of work that's in the pipeline that's going through, and I think I have some numbers here. So let me just kind
of go ahead, take your time.
Read off some things here. Okay. So the RSM, which is a Canadian consulting firm, they do sort of like environmental sustainability, workforce governance, that sort of thing. 200,000 people have left the workforce as of March 2022, which is post-COVID. Part of that is early retirement. So a third of recent retired Canadians are early retirees, and that was backed by the Benefits Canada insurance, which said 73,000 people retired by August 2022. And again, that was 30% compared to previous years. So
that was they're part of that 200,000 plus people?
Yeah, and that's just what was backed by the Benefits Canada. But we're having a mass exodus of retirees that was already happening with the baby boomers. COVID happens, early retirement now sets in on top of it. I mean, the numbers when I was talking to LIUNA, which is the laborers union, this was going back 3 years ago, so I don't even know what it is now. They were sitting at 400 people retiring a month.
A month.
Of which we're talking about these individuals who have 20, 30 years experience who are retiring. I can't remember. I think it was like 1,200 people they were getting through the door a month in training, but they needed 3 new kind of trained people from the union to take over for one of the retirees. Sorry, so they need 1,200 going through the door to
replace that 400.
To replace the 400. So for every 400 people that leave, 1,200
were they getting 1,200?
I don't remember. I can't remember because this was 3 years ago.
Okay.
But I recall it being not so great. I remember it.
And then what percentage of that 1,200 would stay?
Right.
That's the other thing.
That's the other. Can you retain them? And I have this whole thing of recruitment's all great. We can bring people. We can market to people. We can try to get individuals into this industry. What are we doing to keep them in the industry?
That's a big hurdle.
It's a big hurdle.
It's no different than sales.
Yeah.
It's easy to get the job. it's hard to keep the job.
Absolutely.
So
I think the next step is this immigration that's coming in. So those
is that happening? Is that confirmed?
RSM has also reported Canadian government will be relying on immigration to replenish shortages. The mandate is 400,000 immigrants per year from 2022 to 2024. So that's just shy of 1 million immigrants that will be coming in the next 2 years.
For the workforce.
But
then in that 1 year, how many are leaving now?
How many are leaving and what industry? Right? I mean, great. Love it. How are we organizing these individuals into pipelines to get them into the right job fast enough, to get them into the industry that requires them? So this is an amazing opportunity for the construction associations, the construction industry to sit there and say, how do we take advantage of this? Which is some rather large conversational pieces that I've been trying to broach. So actually on November 30th, the building show this year, they've asked us to come back, and I'm doing a panel-based discussion. So I do moderating for, I've done this last year and I did it previous to this. I do a lot of talk about diversity and inclusion, which includes these immigrants that are now coming. Mm-hmm. We need to change the policy, the hiring practices, and sort of the stigma behind hiring immigration or immigrants, because this is our way out. This is how we're going to get out of this. Whether they are coming in at experience level, intermediate, or junior levels, we need to use these individuals in our industry because there just literally is not enough Canadians to take over the work that's coming down the pipeline.
Are they, because that's been a problem of mine, that they're not recognizing the skills that immigrants bring to our country. Yeah. And they want them to start from scratch. And I think that's kind of wrong.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm having that conversation at the building show.
That'll be interesting, chat.
And I'm having another one at Design Build Forces, which is a new conference that's coming out at the Toronto International Convention Center.
Okay.
Design Center, sorry. And I'm talking with Aredo. So if you look at like PEng, professional engineers, OAA, the architects board, you look at Aredo, which is actually the interior design board.
Yeah.
All of them have a certain policy, a certain, what do you call it when you have like a grading system that people have to equivalate degrees
it's a point
to
system
a point system.
Yeah.
When are we going to address that point system and change it so we can be more inclusive?
Why do we have it?
Well, you have to have some sort of standard. To be a professional engineer, there should be a certain standard that you have to reach, a body governing individuals who are building our bridges and building our towers. And so I completely agree with that. To your point, what are we doing to help individuals who are sitting on the sidelines, not able to break into our industry? Never mind, get their work equivalated, have their degrees equivalated, where they're not sitting in school or going back to courses for another 2, 3, 4 years. That situation needs to be.
I think there's a sector of the, I guess, people that should also have a point system, and that should be politicians.
You can get into that conversation.
But I'm just saying, because my next question to you was, it's amazing, and from what I gather from a lot of people that listen to the show and people that I speak through social media and construction in general, they do agree with the immigrant. They do agree with bringing in more. We have to replenish. We know that's a viable option, but we still have to look towards our own homegrown talent here. Yeah. Right. And I don't know how much they're doing about that or how much we can do about that.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately a little, I'd say jaded. I actually re-listened to one of our podcasts, and it was so funny because you called me out, and I think it was the first one.
I get nervous.
Yeah, no, you called me out, and good on you. I had said, I'm going to reach out to the government, and I'm going to reach out to all these associations, and you're like, really? Because they're not answering my phone calls. And I was like, no, I'm stubborn.
We just had Luke on, so the new CEO of Ontario Home Builders Association.
Amazing.
I'm communicating with Monty through DMs, but I'm getting a lot of runaround. I sent a message to Ford. Like, I want to have these conversations, and my running joke is I want to see less suits and more workwear. Yeah. Simple.
Like,
really, really simple.
Let's have a conversation. Why can't and so after listening to that podcast, it was so funny because in my mind, I was racking through all of the meetings that I had with different construction associations, with the Ministry of Labor. I was, and I don't want to slam anyone, but all I could picture, when you have like a GIF in your head, all I could picture was me up against a brick wall, like bang, 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 and I'm like,
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
So that's fine. I'll do it grassroots. I'll get together with smaller groups and smaller organizations.
That's all we can do now.
We'll make some noise. We'll, bang our little war drums, and I'll be happy doing that. But maybe that's going to be a little bit more than whatever these other associations are doing. And again, I don't want to slam anybody, but you have such a siloed industry. The whole industry is so siloed. Just break down some doors. Yeah. Shake someone's hand.
There's got to be easier ways to achieve things.
Come out to events,
yes,
just let's collaborate. Let's get together around a round table and say, what can I bring to the table? What can you bring to the table? I actually think a huge opportunity was missed when COVID happened. We lost an entire sector, the hospitality industry. Where were all the marketing campaigns to reroute those people into apprenticeship programs,
single one.
Into
nothing,
trades, different schooling, get them grants to get in, you have one sector completely in a crisis mode, which I mean, I don't mean to sound dire, but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from the industry.
But nobody was there to lend a helping hand.
Where was
nobody?
Where was it? And, I sit there and I say, was that our responsibility? It's not. But could it have been?
But as a nation.
As
right?
a group.
That's what Canadians are all about, right? Like, we are about helping each other out.
Yeah.
So where did that, that's a whole other, you can get it down a whole other rabbit hole.
There was a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
There were a lot of jobs open, and people were looking, and there was grants from the government to pay for those open jobs. So what happened where that communication totally missed an entire group of people who were just sitting at home saying, I just lost my job. I don't know how to pay for this roof over my head, or, my kid's going to school. A lot of that happened. So I got a little passionate about it because it was just we missed the ball.
We totally did. I guess the only good thing is there was a lesson learned. Hopefully. Yeah. But if you could, and without ruffling too many feathers, what would you do differently, Agnes, if you could?
Yeah, it's such an overwhelming task to take on. We are trying. So as NextGen's trying, I've actually hired our first hire out of the gate wasn't another recruiter. It was a community manager.
Okay.
Her name's Bernally Barwise. She's amazing. She's creative. She wants to help people. Her job is to build the NextGen brand from the perspective of resource building. What groups are we collaborating with? Who are we getting involved with? Who are the players in the market? And then what does the community need? And I keep saying community. We are going to let people know about the different events that we're going to. We're going to let them know about events we're not going to. We're going to keep posting videos on resume building, different fairs or job markets that are happening. We want to be kind of a one-stop shop for individuals, whether you're an employee or an employer, to just ask. Just send us an email, talk to Bernally. I need help building a pipeline. Who do I call? Who do I talk to? I need help.
How do they find you? How does a candidate even where to start? How to Google?
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn, and that's an issue onto itself because a certain market of individuals go on LinkedIn. It's not everybody. We are building our NextGen brand on Instagram. That's something that we're actively working on. I have a really great relationship with Shauna McKenzie, who, I can tell you everything about her. She's just a wonderfully dedicated person to trades. She works for Career Foundations, which is a Employee Ontario affiliate. Her job is to build for free pipelines of entry level, of general labor, of anybody from the community into an employer's pipeline for them to hire from.
Wow.
She calls it, I think, workplace planning or workplace development planning. She gets funded by the government to do this. So I'm constantly preaching services like this where, you as an employee can reach out to me and I'll give you her as a resource.
Yeah.
So we're building the NextGen brand. I just want to be a spoke. If you can think of it as a spoke on a wheel, if we are the hub and we just shuffle information. So you come in and you say, I'm looking for a job. Okay, what level are you at? Well, I'm here. Okay, we can send you to this organization, or you can come through us because you look like you're a good fit for our clients. Great.
Are you connected to training facilities as well to get some extra training going on if someone needed it to kind of get into?
Not yet, no. Okay. We've been doing our own sort of in-house training specific to, as I mentioned, interviewing, and we're doing another one called skills development.
Okay. We've
done 2 courses online for skills development. They're usually run about an hour. It's nothing overly produced. I would like to redo the videos just so they're a little more professional, but this was us doing grassroots, like just getting it out there.
Yeah.
I take people through LinkedIn free programs for BIM, for Revit. If you want to learn how to do AutoCAD, it's all free. These courses are free. I take people through construction estimation and some Udemy courses that you can take, which instead of paying $500, $600, $700 to go to school over, like night courses, you can go to Udemy and you can probably grab our certificate, or you can go directly to like Procore and learn their construction management software for free. So we
have Procore coming on the show next week or the week after. Jazz.
You have Jazz coming?
Yeah,
he's an amazing human being.
I've met him a few times at the shows.
That's somebody I should definitely reach back out to because we wanted to do
I'll
something.
mention it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please do, because I wanted to do something with Procore for a long time. We got it integrated with their educational department.
Cool.
And we were going to do something fairly collaborative to not just reach high school students, but we were talking about reaching elementary school. So building.
You got to tell me more about that, because that I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and again, we're back to the basics. This was something that I had developed relationships with OYAP, which is the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Programs. We were with Durham District School Board. We were going to run pilots. I got involved with Simcoe, so up towards Barrie. They're Catholic in public school boards. All of it kind of fell apart with the world, but I want to get back involved with that because I 100% agree. It's
but then do we need, I guess we do, government involvement to kind of I'll take the knife out of your back. I just how do we do everybody in construction feels that we need it to be back in elementary, definitely in high school, and then prepare these kids.
You do it right now.
That's part of, I guess, Canadians. I hear, right? And
you just get a bunch of people around a table, and like I said, it doesn't have to go. You think school, and you think you have to go through school channels. No, I don't. I can just do something on social media right now. I can do it on Snapchat. Not that I have Snapchat.
Yeah.
I don't have to work with programs that are going to be too difficult to work with, and that's where my head's at now. I have a dogged determination to get something off the ground. And, our group in Burnley, we're just going to pound on more doors and say, you're in or you're out. And if you're out, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you're in, this is going to be all of us working together towards a common goal. I'll get us organized. I don't mind doing that. And that's something we're starting this year. Just trying to do something again, reaching smaller kids.
I want to backtrack a tiny bit about that. Yeah. I guess a 10-year gap. Would we say that there's a 10-year gap between who's leaving and who's coming in? And I find that policymakers or politicians don't ever speak about that. They don't realize that there's this void. We feel it in the industry.
Yeah.
We're concerned about it. And then what really is going to happen with that?
I don't know. I think it is about a 10-year gap. So I'm trying to think of what age group it is.
I heard it's that center point. So you've got
30s to 40s.
Yes.
That seems to be definitely missing out. So we're either working with individuals who are incredibly tenured, who have been in the industry for a very long time. That's not necessarily what everyone in the industry is or what an employer in the industry is looking for. Because sometimes it's just, you have your own way of doing something. So you would like to bring in someone a little more junior or moldable, adaptable. Those are the people that don't seem to be there, that have experience and at the same time can be more fluid, adaptable, flexible for your growing needs. That seems to be the gap that's missing, which I would say maybe 30 to 45 somewhere.
I think I think you're right. That's the kind of age group that we're concerned about. So either the 20-somethings decided to leave, they didn't stay.
Yeah.
Or they did stay and then they just kind of worked it through and now they become late 40s and 50s. But now they're so close to retiring and leaving again. So we're just creating another hole at the other end of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Ontario, and I don't remember exactly, but I think it's 15% of our population is retiring. 15%
overall,
of the Canadian population. I think it's like 20%, 25% in Europe. So you got to think about that from not only do we not have enough people joining the industry, but at the same time, we're losing, if you take that 15% across the board, just generalize it, we're losing 15%. On top of it.
I did see through the madness of the last 3 years, a lot of tradespeople actually leave Canada, either go down south and work for the Americans, which is totally fine. There's lots of work down there, but I've also seen them go to Europe and either start a whole new career and they left. But I did see a lot of tradespeople leave in one aspect or another, just leave. And I can only speak for more of the custom side resi world of it, because that's what I'm very familiar with. But there was a lot of people either early retirement or a career change, the same way that you had a lot of people, I think not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago, you had a lot of professionals, either engineers or inspectors or architects, get into the industry because they wanted to be more hands-on and work on it. But there has been a lot of people leave.
And sorry, that's what they're saying is more retirement, just different change of life.
They don't want to keep on, like you have expressed, hit their head against a wall, right? They're just, I mean, what else can I do? I've read stats recently where, a typical GC in Ontario as of last year was $56K a year as an average, fee. And then same with, electricians and plumbers, they're up around 70 or closer to 80. Yeah. But it's also, that's just standard rates. You're working 40 hours or what have you, and you can make more. But I guess they're looking at it like that's not enough for me to stay and still fight my battles. I feel that everybody in construction has a battle to fight along with a career to build.
Yeah. And
we shouldn't really have these battles to fight. We should just be focusing on the career.
Yeah. And it's, I think we're getting hit from multiple sides. So the stigma side of it, you know, dirty construction, you're, digging trenches, you're just a very stereotyped version of what construction has to offer. And I say construction, and I think it's an umbrella term for engineering, for architecture. It's all in-house, trades, subcontractors, all in-house. Then we're getting hit with the progression of technology, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that I know that are, my age or younger, who are interested in being outside on a site, who are interested in working with their hands, if that's what the role is. I think technology is going to be forced into construction more so than it currently is. And I think there's wonderful strides being made in technology. But with the lack of people joining computers in whatever technology is going to have to compensate for our loss.
But we do have a generation that could technically get into construction by coming up with technology that we could be in the forefront.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's an opportunity for you to still embrace your technical side of things and contribute to the construction side of things.
Agreed. And I think that's these wonderful programs like what Mohawk has for their technologist division. So you don't have to go through this like crazy, bachelor's degree and get into civil engineering. And they have some of these shorter programs that are still great programs, and they're technology based. So architectural programming, architectural technology isn't just drafting on AutoCAD. A lot of these people do 3D modeling. They do now these models, I think they even do 4D. So you can model a building, forecast it over the span of its lifetime, and then do the costing and figure. And it's like it's not automated. You still have to plug it in, but what a wonderful idea that is, right? Who took that and added it into construction?
And there's a disconnect there too. Like, 10, 15 years ago, watching tradespeople use a smartphone, like just to like you could have had a bone in one hand and the phone in the other. Like that's how Neanderthal you could have looked, right? So there's that opportunity where they can come up and they have to come in and train.
Yeah.
Teach, educate, work with us.
Are you finding that that generation, maybe like, the 40s and plus, who weren't as tech savvy or didn't have the experience with tech, are they starting to be more open?
Oh, I think they were starting a long time ago.
Okay.
I think it was, I joke about it because I'm no different. I'm part of that group, but I'm a little more tech savvy than the majority of them. But I mean, like, it's evident that when you're using one finger to punch in certain messages on whatever social media or your email, sure, you're not that tech savvy, but guess what? The message is getting out there. So they're using the device for the purpose of the device. Are they using it to the max? No. That's where maybe you might want to hire somebody that's much younger, that's very familiar with that, and then they can teach something to you. And guess what? You can teach something to them.
Agreed. It's a reciprocal relationship.
Totally.
And, to your point of bringing young people in and technology in, it's a two-way streak. You have to have technology fit into the industry so people are comfortable with it. Like, it needs to be providing, obviously, some sort of progressive route, but at the same time, you need to have leadership be open-minded and see how maybe that can take away from somebody's hours or tedious work and give them more space to be creative and think outside the box. Because from my standpoint, when I was in the construction industry as a project manager, construction manager, a lot of my job was creative problem solving.
Yeah.
So if I got bogged down in the weeds of scheduling and budgeting and quotes and all that, maybe there's a system or technology out there, and I'm sure there is. They have tons of these CRMs now, right? Or construction management programs, and they do a lot of this automatically for you. But then that leaves you the time to be creative in your problem solving and come up with really great ideas when you have to overcome hurdles, or because every site, we know every single site is going to have a problem some way, somewhere, some way. That's construction.
Yeah.
So giving people the space to deal with that versus the, tediousness of what the job is, right?
But it's funny because smartphone technology in construction was designed for the same reason it was designed for any other industry. And I think the better you get the old dogs, for lack of a better word, understanding that this new technology will streamline your business, which basically makes it more efficient, which basically makes it more profitable, which basically makes you more successful.
Yeah.
Once they realize that there's a reason why you've spent so much money and effort and training on new tools and new tasks and new tricks and new everything, why aren't we not doing that for the same thing regarding the tech side of the business or the paper? Paper side of the business.
Yeah, most of my clients that we work with have something.
Okay.
So we do onboarding of clients, and we will actually interview them on their softwares and technologies, and I'm pleasantly pleased. Most people at the base have a Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Project.
Okay.
It's like a basic scheduling, monitoring platform that they can use. A lot of them have Builder Trend or a similar construction management
platform, similar,
But that has become much more prevalent. 10 years ago, so I started 10 years ago. We had Excel.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
There's still a lot of guys who are doing Excel or the classic piece of wood Excel. Like that would be their go-to. Right. And unfortunately, they still are doing that. I mean, we joke about it. The contractor's notepad, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, but there is evolution. I think there is a lot of people realizing, hang on, we can streamline this, which means we can make more money.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that. Seeing that. I mean, the front of your car is still your office, but at least now you can Wi-Fi hook up quickly to a server and update all your data. Or, I've seen some contractors walking around with iPads now. And so they document deficiencies, or they can do a live time meeting. When I was doing construction management, and I remember this. I was driving to Forest Hill. We had a house that we were building, and something had gone wrong. I don't remember what, but something had gone wrong. And I'm driving up Bathurst, and I'm trying to turn left before I get to Eglinton. And I knew I couldn't turn left at that light. And at the same time that I'm like on my phone, have my laptop on the seat open, and I'm turning obviously legal left, I get a call from a site super from Florida for one of our houses, and something's gone wrong there. So now I get pulled over by the cops.
So the one thing you didn't notice was the police around you. Okay.
I am a bawling, sobbing mess at this point. And all I can think of is how beautiful is it that I am now managing my site in Florida virtually, because he had called me with a virtual call. I mean, I was getting my ticket.
Oh, that was a virtual call too.
It was a virtual call. Yeah. So the cop was just not impressed. I did not get demerit points, thank goodness, but that was a very expensive ticket. Regardless, either way, that was my first kick at the can of technology helping me, because here I am monitoring a site, thousands of kilometers away. And we got the job done. Like at that time, in that moment. And I know it's just a video call, and we're so used to video calls right now.
Yeah. But then,
like, I had a BlackBerry, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the Blackberries?
No, I never had one.
Oh God,
it didn't make any sense to me. I went right to the iPhone. That's all I did.
I loved my BlackBerry.
Really? Where is BlackBerry now?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they have a bunch of parts and a bunch of different products. I think they're associated.
I love the little keyboard. Anyways, okay, getting off topic, but yeah. So
do you still have 8-tracks?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I know what an 8-tracks is.
Anybody, I guess, would be 50 and older.
Yeah, so I'm I'm the grandmother of the millennials.
Okay.
Like I'm like one of the first years that we started getting called millennials.
Maybe Laserdisc. Do you have a Laserdisc?
Like a CD?
No, like a movie Laserdisc. It was the size of a vinyl, like a record. Yeah, they had movies like that before. It never took off. This would have been right after VHS and Beta and stuff.
I had my aunt's cassette collection.
Cassette player.
It wasn't mine.
Yeah.
No, I never had a Walkman, which I think is like, that was like I feel so bad. This is like a little thing though in your pocket.
Yeah, it was a little device that you could have music for one.
I had a disc one.
A Discman. I still have a Discman as well too.
Yeah, yes. I had one of those.
Yeah, so it was just one CD and that's it. It was.
Yes.
But it's amazing how quickly technology has moved, and construction probably took the longest to move it. Move with it.
Potentially. And again, this is technology. I was in technology and construction. Mike and I just got back from Spain. It was a bucket trip that we've been wanting to do, and we went to Barcelona. In Barcelona, there's a famous architect, Gaudi. So when someone says something so gaudy,
never want to fall on any of his buildings because you'll just be impaled. But beautiful work.
Beautiful work.
Yes.
So the Sagrada Familia is a building that has been under construction, I think 150 years, something like that.
Generations
past.
Yes.
And we were walking through it, and we're walking all around the towers with the construction happening, and you just see these mass amounts of cranes going up, and they're putting on these little, like terrazzo tiles, and everything's getting polished. It's just, the craftsmanship is out of control on this building. And all I can think was, they expedited the completion of this project because the advances in technology have allowed for this type of precast work, laser cutting work, the cranes and the ability to get multiple cranes up on such a small space. All of that is some sort of advancement in technology. So the Sagrada Familia is going to be completed in our lifetime. It had no business being completed in our lifetime. So think of that, right?
I'm sure that, and I probably look forward to this, is there's got to be a documentary being made about the rebuilding of Notre Dame, right? The whole burning of it, right? So now you're going to rebuild something that was built so long ago, built a certain way, but you're definitely going to build it with today's tech. And so I'd love to see a documentary about how they did that, how they achieved that, because I think there's still going to be that hand and hammer skill attached to the work, but there's going to be technology attached to it.
Yeah,
it has to be that way.
There's an elegance to hand completed work.
Yes,
there's an elegance to it.
For sure.
And I do believe that we should not lose that craftsmanship that goes into these buildings, because it's art. Really, when you create something like the Sagrada Familia or the Notre Dame, it's a piece of culture, which is art, which is it's their entity, it's their identity. That should be done by a local person, a local artist.
We should also be embracing it here too. I mean, I've had people on the show before, and they've gone abroad to get a lot of skill training.
Right.
And I mean, we should be doing that here. We should be opening it up, either out west or in Ottawa or here in Ontario. We should have more of that. I think that's how you get homegrown talent embracing and wanted to be in the industry. If you give them training facilities or outlets for them to actually practice their skill set, then you'd be getting a lot of people from other countries coming to Canada.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity.
And there's a disconnect or a gap there as well. When you go to Europe, I'm European background. There is a passion or pride.
Yes.
There is a cultural pride
Yes.
for skilled trades. I just don't feel like we maybe have that here.
We don't.
Again, that comes back to the stigma. And
We have the
stereotype.
stigma before we have that. That stigma
Yeah.
is still there,
Yeah,
but it's not before the passion.
right.
That's what we, as a generation that's in this industry, we have an obligation, I think, to contribute to change that.
How do you do that, right?
If I knew that,
Yeah.
like, I don't know how you would do that. I mean, are you not in awe when you travel and you see how anybody that's in
Absolutely.
construction, they've traveled and they're walking around structures that have been around for so long. They're not looking at it in awe. They're looking at it in how it was built.
Yeah,
And they're trying to place themselves in the person's hands that built it.
yeah,
We don't do that here. So we should actually start doing that here. And that goes, again, back to, the policymakers and everybody that's doing this. Enough with the political theater and actually start doing, factual theater.
Well, and I think that's going back to younger individuals, going back to high schools and elementary
Yes.
schools. I came from a vocational school. It's not there anymore. I don't know how many vocational schools there are or training schools.
But how many
there are.
little things, Agnes, did you build that you were like?
Tons.
I remember like chessboards and you're building
Yeah.
little things and intricate things, and it's all the same principles. You're using certain tools, hand or power. You're using skill and you're problem solving. You're trying to figure out how to build something. Then you're proud of what you built. That's not given to any child now.
No, and it's something. So remember, I was telling you I was going to do my basement.
Yeah.
There's a sense of pride in doing my basement. There's a challenge in doing my basement. There's also a independence, a skill set independence. When your lights go out, right? Like, something's blown in your electrical panel. You call an electrician. Well, what if there's no electrician? Because we don't have enough electricians to make all those house calls. Are you going to figure out how to fix your electrical?
Or should you figure it out?
Should you figure
Right,
out? Do you
yeah.
even know where your electrical panel is? Do you know what a fuse is between different fuse boxes? And there's a lot of just common basic knowledge about home maintenance that I think we should be teaching individuals, and maybe not making that a what do you call it? Course, not mandatory. Like, it should be a mandatory course.
Yes.
Because if we're running out of people to fix the bigger problems or grow the bigger infrastructure, and then you have a whole slew of homeowners who have no idea how to maintain their own home, what's going to happen? Right?
But a lot in the industry kind of like that because then they'll have to call us. Like, I mean,
agreed. But you can't reach all of us.
No, you can't, right? But
Right.
servicing and plumbers, they love that. That's their bread and butter.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you've got a clog and they know how to do it because they're professionals. They can come in a half hour of their time and they can bill it. And then you saved my house, you saved my life. And
Right.
that's it. But there are certain things that I think they're just basic stuff that homeowners or people should know.
Drywall.
But there also should be taught certain things should be left to the professionals.
Yes.
You don't start taking 4 screws off an electrical panel and start tinkering around with a screwdriver and just go, what's this all about? And what's this all about? And start
Right.
touching it. Like, there's basic principles of safety at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
Gas and plumbing, I guess, yeah. And there's a lot of that stuff.
But there's
Structure.
a lot that you should know how to do around your house.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And there are things you can do.
Smoke alarms, filters,
Right.
all kinds of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Cleaning out your eaves troughs.
Yes.
Like, just even installing an eaves trough, right? Unless you're redoing your whole house, and that can be dangerous and fall from heights and all that. If there's just a section, I mean, are you going to call someone who might not come, or are you going to learn how to put up that section, right?
Yes.
I told you I did my laundry room. I learned how to cut down countertops, and I connected my washing because I had to move my washer, stack it with my washer and dryer.
So you moved this.
All YouTube.
Okay.
All YouTube.
Really?
So I learned how to stack it. I bought the right kit. So I stacked it. I took down one of my cabinets. I'm like, okay, now I have more space. Okay, I need a countertop. How do I make a countertop? And then so I was like Googling countertops, and I bought like the router, the jigsaw, and I wanted to use the existing sink, but then I put the plumbing line. So I learned all of this, and it took a really long time. But there was a pride, a satisfaction, and now I've learned a significant skill set because I'm very comfortable now cutting and safely cutting and putting and
But
gluing.
you've got some construction
Agreed.
know-how.
Agreed.
I'm
That's
still
my point.
there's a lot of people that and millennials, like elder millennials, and I don't want to joke, but they don't even know how to hang a picture. Like I just
Yeah.
like that's kind of scary.
So maybe a community-based program, running community programs.
And where's that who's gonna and what and how is gonna handle?
You just have an idea and you work it back. That's kind of what I go with. So
there's other battles I have to fight instead of that.
I'll take them all on.
Okay, that makes me think, because you're doing a lot of your own work. And what color tool are you? You and your husband.
Color tool.
Yeah, what brand? Do you have a preference or no?
I have a Milwaukee
Okay,
red drill.
Red, okay.
And it does everything for me.
Okay. I love the way you said Milwaukee, because I'll say it that way now from now on.
Oh no, how are you, how are you supposed
Milwaukee.
How are you supposed to say it?
Milwaukee.
Didn't I say it that way?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
It was almost like I don't want to use it. So you have a drill, but then jigsaw was what, a Milwaukee as well?
No, that's a Mastercraft.
Okay.
I actually have a few Mastercrafts, and then I have a Deloitte, a massive drill Deloitte, because I was taking out some concrete in the basement.
Deloitte?
Is it Deloitte?
DeWalt?
DeWalt.
I'm going to use Deloitte now.
Does it matter?
Well, anybody who's a DeWalt is really going to get upset. They're going to like,
it's the big yellow one.
I know.
It's heavy duty.
It's a Deloitte now. I'm going to start calling it Deloitte. That's
Please don't.
No. It's just all good. It's all fun. No, but I love that you actually like but you also speak to people. You figure it out, and you try to, instead of just abandoning it. Like, I don't know how to do this. I don't want to touch this.
Okay, Rona, Home Depot, Lowe's. If you go in the middle of a work week, they are all retired tradespeople.
Yeah,
and they are awesome. And I just sat there and I showed them pictures, and I was that girl with the doe-eyed being like, WTF, what do I do?
yeah.
And they were great. They walked me around the store. They'd put, that little bit, and they say, this is how you attach it to this, and this is the spout and the diameter you need. No idea what they were talking about. I mean, I generally had a clue of how this needed to look at the end, but those little intricate pieces, that the washers that you needed, I wasn't going to put a washer in. And the gentleman, John Smith
There's
at the
all
Rona.
these little secrets that we're aware of. I know.
So my advice to anybody who's looking to take on a project is, yes, do your research, go on YouTube, but just talk to the people at these stores. They're fun. You'll learn something. They'll direct you in the right way. And they seem to be very cost conscientious, which I appreciate. I appreciate that they don't direct you to the most expensive tools, knowing that you're probably going to use it once or twice.
That's another thing to consider.
Yeah. If I'm only using a saw couple of times in its lifetime versus something that somebody's going to be using as a tradesperson every single day, I don't want to spend $400 on it.
You don't need to,
and I don't need to. So
what you pretty much did is the same thing that we do as professionals whenever we're on a job site. If I see an architect or an engineer or another production manager or any like that project manager or anybody, I'm picking their brain.
Yeah,
I'm picking their brain for future projects that I'm going to be working on, because I don't know everything. So you've got a resource here. Ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the worst that's going to happen? And then I've never met anybody in the industry that has said, no, I'm not going to answer you. They've always they always are so eager to answer you. They want to problem solve. Okay, explain exactly what you're doing here. Okay, and then you'll just figure it out. And if it means that you have to get a piece of paper and start drawing it out, we start discussing it. So discussing it with those people is the same thing that us discussing it to other professionals. We're all trying to help each other out.
Yeah, and what's really interesting? This is another one of my crazy ideas that I want to take on. And I'm going to do it. You're going to see, I'm going to do it. I've always wanted to run a mentorship program. The amount of people that I'm connected with who just want to do something, they need to be pointed in some sort of direction. And I was like, online. We could do it virtually.
Yes.
Why couldn't we? It would be inexpensive. You could reach people across Canada, different time zones. And I was like, if you could rally the people who genuinely want to help as a mentor or a leader or share those stories, like you were talking, if you could just get those genuine people, you can book them with that whole slew of the next generation coming in who just don't know what they're doing. They don't know
who to ask.
Or who to ask, or maybe they have a problem. So I'd love to come up with some sort of mentorship program that's just easy to use. You hook up with somebody on maybe the same industry or same ethnic background as you. I don't know. Like,
I agree with you. And I think that, and I've said this, I try to constantly, I'm trying to get Andrew Prete back on the show. He's a trim carpenter, a young guy, just started a brand new family, super cool guy. And he's trying to get his mentor on the show. He was like, I want to get the guy who taught me. And this guy is a trim carpenter, old school, in his mid to late 60s, and Andrew's in his late 20s, early 30s. And I'm like, the industry wants this. They need this match made kind of thing, because all these older trades are leaving, but they still want to talk. Like, they still want to share. They're just not being given the opportunity to sit down and share with somebody and talk to somebody. And then you've got the younger generation, maybe a little intimidated or afraid to reach out or speak. But if you can make the connection,
that's
that's all.
How many war stories can be shared? Because think of all the experiences that are out there of just like really random and crazy things that have happened on a site. And if you could share those stories and get that information out to these younger people who might not have a direct mentor or coach or something in their workplace, you might be able to get them to critically think about something or trigger a situation where it's like, oh, actually that's happening to me right now, right? Yes. This is how I'm going to... So maybe you save a timeline, a schedule, a person's sanity just by sharing these stories. So, and I think if you help one person, that's good enough, right? Like, keep going, but just have that mindset of if we help a couple of people, that's good. That's good. So let's just keep going.
That's us just doing it ourselves now, right?
Yeah.
And then don't have any government interference at that point.
I'm so tired of it. And
how
naive I was.
No, you're not naive. And the thing is, like, if it's helping, great. Yeah. But if it's not helping.
Yeah. And I would love for NextGen to become some sort of beacon. I don't know what it looks like. And you can ask me the strategy, and I don't have a strategy. I'm flying by the seat of my pants for half of this, but we're doing something and it's working, and we just want to keep growing that, right? But if NextGen can be that beacon that people come to and just kind of have that shared story around that table, I think it'll help somebody.
For sure.
I think it'll help somebody.
Do you want to chat a little bit about WiTT and how that whole connection came about?
Okay, so WiTT is Women in Technology and Trades out of Mohawk College. I had been reaching out years ago to a number of women in construction groups, and this is one of the groups that I just fell right in step with. They are a talented group of women. They are very dedicated and loyal to their cause. They are consistent in their work, which I think is very important, because you can volunteer on any board and that's great, but unless you're actually doing something consistently and helping people, what's the point? But they consistently help young women in technology and trades.
And we just want to let everybody know that, okay, so we're recording this on the Sunday, which is the 13th.
Yes. And on Wednesday, November 16th.
Yeah.
So this is at Mohawk College. They're doing a symposium called Exploring Workforce Expectations. It's from 6 to 9. So you just click the register button, and all you have to do is go to Mohawkcollege.ca /women-technology-trades. And then you'll see the events on the left-hand side, and it's free registration. Just a call out to just women in positions of any sort of mentorship, leadership, who want to be a mentor, who want to be a leader, women who are hiring managers, come out and show support. This is something that we need to help each other. We need to support each other. Yep. It's not going to come from outside the industry. It's going to come from us. So again, back to grassroots, just get a couple of people.
It's the only way you can really do it.
Yeah, there's food, there's beverages, they do networking. WiTT throws a really good event, I'll have to say. And the last one that they did was at the Joyce Innovation Center, which is on the Mohawk College. It's a net zero building. So it was built by the school, net zero. It actually generates more energy than it takes.
Nice.
So it passes the energy off to the other buildings, which is very cool.
And the students had a hand with that, or did they?
I believe they did, yes.
Okay, yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good event. And then you're supporting them, you're working with them.
Yeah.
Any other plans going on for early next year?
Yeah, I wrote down everything. See, I told you, I'm prepared.
Totally shoot.
So, okay, the building show is coming up for November 30th, running to December 2nd.
It's 3 days, yeah.
It's a 3-day affair, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So on November 30th, I'll be on the main stage at 1 o'clock. My seminar code, if you're looking to come into the seminar, is MW105. So MW105. I'm doing a panel discussion with Shauna McKenzie, Greg Herman. So Shauna McKenzie is the Director for Employment with Career Foundations. I'd mentioned her.
That name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I mentioned her earlier in the conversation. Okay. She does workforce planning, recruitment for employers across Ontario. She's an Ontario employee affiliate. So her organization is basically subsidized by Employment Ontario to help the trades industry. So she's an amazing human being. Shauna McKenzie. Then I have Greg Herman, who comes from an engineering company, Engineering Link. He's people and culture. So engineering was one of the perspectives we wanted to take.
And these are all guest speakers along with you?
These are all guest speakers.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting conversation.
And then I have Adrian Sluga, who's a dear friend of mine. He's also the VP for Strategic Development at Pomerleau, which is a national GC here in Canada.
Let me ask you, are these people all approachable? So anybody who's listening,
any one of them.
That's what I mean. I know the answer.
Yeah. Shauna is
reach out, ask a question, and you will get somebody coming back.
You'll get somebody. Yeah. They seem to be heavily involved, or at least progressive, that they want to do something in this industry and build it from the inside out. We're doing the panel discussion, how to address the labor shortage challenges today. So that's at 1 o'clock, November 30th, main stage. On December 1st at 2:30, young leaders exploring paths to career growth and their role in the workplace is another panel discussion. This is the second year running that they've done it. They sold out the last conference. Shout out to my husband. That's his conference. That's his panel. He did a really, really great job. His code is TS112. He is the director of coaching at NextGen. John Abel is the president at Navicon, which is a civil subcontractor out in Brantford. So they do like sewer, water main, infrastructure, road work. Jennifer Benedict is coming on. She's fantastic as well. Director at Metrolinx, so infrastructure works there. And then Margot Pomerleau, which is another dear friend of mine. She's a partner at MBC Law, and she practices construction litigation. Okay. So these are all young individuals coming and talking about pathways into like their stories and how we can get more young people involved and coach the younger generation. So that's a whole conversation about career coaching and youth in construction. And then one of the things that we decided to do this year, I'm super excited about, we partnered with the Building Show to create the Career Hub. So instead of it just being NextGen, you know me, I'm all about collaboration. Yep. Yeah. We invited Shauna's group, so the Career Foundations, to come into one booth with us. Then we reached out to the Carpenters Union and we invited them to come to the booth. Cool. So somebody can come to this booth who's an employer, who's looking for a job, who's looking for subsidies, who's looking for teaching, whatever you need. If it's job related, you come to us and one of these three parties will be able to look after you in some capacity, right? Like just come, we'll help you out.
So this is going to be an important show. I know that bouncing back last year and everyone...
It was slow last year and that's okay.
It's good that now there's a lot there. So you can literally go for the 3 days and you can go and listen to and speak and then go. I love the hub idea.
We wanted to do something where we got the industry involved. So we're running career coaching at 12 o'clock noon on the 30th and then on the 1st. On the Friday, we're doing it at 10 a.m. The career coaching is Mike's coming in and doing individual one-on-one coaching with people who come to our booth. Oh, wow. It'll be over the course of an hour. We're also going to be telling people how to discuss bonuses, how to discuss promotions. What do you need to get into the industry? So skills coaching. And then afterwards.
You have to book these 1 hour?
No, just show up. Just show up. Okay. Show up Wednesday or Thursday. So the 30th or the 1st, show up at 12. And then on the Friday, on the 2nd, show up at 10 because it's a half day. Yeah. And that's career coaching. So you'll learn some tools to take with you to either your current employer, your next employer, or for yourself to coach yourself emotionally. As a business, yeah. And then, sorry for doing more.
No, you go ahead. This is like amazing. I can't believe that. How are you going to pull all this stuff? Like you're all ready to go.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Everything's done. The same days on the 30th and then on the 1st at 3 p.m., we're running mock interviews. So if you are a junior, you've never interviewed before, maybe you're new to this country, you just need help in interviewing. We're actually going to do a live interview. So I'm going to be interviewing one of my recruiters. We'll go through a demonstration. We have PDFs that we're going to be printing and handing out to people with resources, because I also have it linked to our website. Our website has some of those video recordings that we did a couple of years ago on like literally what are people looking for in the interview process. And then we also give you resources for resume building, so platforms you can go and build your resume on. And then Friday, it's going to be at the 12 o'clock. So we really just want to help people. Like it's as genuine as it gets.
So don't be shy about it. Just like immerse yourself into it and just start asking questions.
Yeah. Just show up and somebody's going to help you there. I don't know how or which way. I remember I had a last year, gentleman show up. He had only been in the country for about 6 months. His English was fantastic. He was a structural engineer and he was looking for work. So at the time, I didn't know anyone who was looking for a structural engineer. Grabbed his resume. He did an interview with Ariel at our booth, grabbed his summary. I took him to market the next day and he was hired. I think he was hired about a week or two later. I didn't have anyone who was looking for a job. I just knew he was going to be somebody that would be dedicated, passionate. He's got this incredible experience. Even though he has to take us, several steps back and start as a junior, he was willing to do it because he was confident in his skill set to get somewhere.
How long did that take him to do that to kind of get back on path?
So I followed him a little bit. He's now a EIT structural. So that's an EIT is an engineer in training. So he's had to redesignate back in Canada. But he's working towards his EIT. He's a year into it now. I forget how long the equivalency process is.
Okay.
But he's working as a drafter for a structural steel company. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
And that's what we need.
As simple as that.
And that's what we need.
Actually, you're right. That's what we really need.
Yeah, that's what we need. So, but somebody took a chance on him.
You got a lot on your plate.
Yes.
What else is it? Nothing else going on?
Design Forces, Toronto International Design Center is being postponed until April, to be determined. So April 2023.
Okay.
And that's going to be for interior designers, for architects, for various vendors, trades, to come who do residential, commercial. The Toronto International Design Center. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of exhibitors and vendor space. And they're
I haven't been to it in a while, but
and I think they're trying to do something a little bit more like more conference related, so more networking conference.
Is Arito part of it, or?
Yes, okay. Arito. So Sharon, I'm so sorry, I forgot her last name.
I've spoken to her briefly.
She's the director, president at Arito. Wonderful woman, very smart, and she's been changing hiring practices and policies from the Arito side. So they're actually putting a lot of diversity and inclusion in their practices, so they can be ready for the influx of what immigrants, or just reaching out to new sectors, new industries, and seeing who they can get from those areas. So love the work that she's doing.
So that's been pushed to the spring.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what happened.
Wasn't it always in the fall? Oh.
No, this is going to be the first year.
Okay.
They were going to run it. It just passed. They were going to run it on the 10th of November, and then they had to postpone the event. I think still everyone trying to come out of the woodwork, trying to and think about it. I mean, I don't know from your side, but everyone I'm talking to is just so swamped with work. It seems like that's the default excuse maybe to not come out to these events. It's like, I'm so busy. And I get it.
But these events are moving the industry forward. So might also be a part of that forward thinking.
Just like show up to one or two.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. Are you not concerned at all about potential threats of recession next year and things kind of slowing down?
I don't know. We've had a lot of our developers start to maybe slow down on the hiring front. That's usually an indicator. The architectural firms are not. So the way I see it is kind of a wave. So we look at the developers as one wave. You look at the architects as a second phase wave. Then you've got the general contractors that come through, and then we work with a lot of commissioning agencies. And so there's these waves. The wave that I'm seeing the busiest amount of work is the architectural wave.
Interesting.
Right? But that doesn't mean that always translates into construction.
So they're preparing things.
Yes. Yeah.
But things could also be put on
They're
hold.
hiring like crazy.
They're hiring like crazy, yeah?
Most of our roles right now are in the architectural field. So architectural designers, drafters, technologists, intern architects, and architects.
Which is directly connected to engineers as well, too, then.
Yeah.
Right.
On the equivalency, yeah. On that side, you'd have engineers as well. And we've done quite a bit of work. Actually, I have 7 roles right now for engineers. We have about, at any given time, we have anywhere from 20 to 30 roles ongoing.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're a small team. We're a small, lean team. We do want to grow. We do want to scale the business, but I always believe quality over quantity. Our clients have been with us, and, huge shout out to our clients that came with us all the way through COVID and everything, because there was a lot of, nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But I have to say, we have an incredible client base who believe in NextGen, believe in what we're doing. They do get involved with us to some degree on a lot of the extracurricular stuff. And they listen. So when we say this is a good candidate, their resume, their project list might not be reflective in your mind of what you're looking at. Trust us enough after 7 years of working with you to know that this person's going to be a fit for you. And we usually do one and done type hires. I'm very confident in our ability to do a one and done hire. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys aren't going anywhere. I mean, you guys, from when I first met you guys and you were talking about everything, I was like, this is a good thing that's going to stay. You're just going to try to figure out who you're going to pass it on to when it eventually gets to that point, which you're not there yet.
No,
you're still building it. And but I mean, everything that you're contributing to the industry is totally working, which is great. And it's more opportunities for more people to get into the industry. So I'm always been a huge fan of anything that pushes this industry forward on a positive level, right?
Are you finding people, like you're saying, people like, are they wanting to get involved just from your end? Do people seem to want to help? They
do want to help, but they also want to make sure that whatever they do contribute to, because a lot of this is also on our part-time basis. Like, we still have a business to run, we still have work to do, we still have our personal lives, but I find that everybody in the construction industry wants to contribute to a greater good. So this is part, and it's just a matter of how many greater goods can we all attach to, so that we can help move it forward. But we also still do need more help from other sort of resources as well, and that's where the government tie-in comes in, right? And I definitely do want to get more political people in here, so we can, not to attack, to question, to just have a conversation.
What can we do to help each other?
That's what we do in construction. We're always problem solving. Like you said at the very beginning of this whole thing, it's all about problem solving. We have a new problem, we solve it. Next generation, the new generation, is going to learn faster than the way we learned, but they're going to create their own problems, and then they're going to have to teach those problems to the next generation, and so on.
It's going to look different.
So we're just, I definitely am embracing it, but we also are questioning what's going to happen, and we want to just keep on building it. That's all it is. So, and starts with conversation.
No, I love the work you guys are doing too.
Thanks.
And I think podcasting and getting stories out there, you guys do a really good job at that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think we want to just do the 12 questions unless there's anything else. I want to redo them with you. It's been a while, but I think is there anything else you want to mention, or?
Look in my notes.
You covered a lot, quite a bit. Everybody will do honestly, get to the shows. Like, you get a chance, go to the show this Wednesday, and then also plan to go to Construct Canada. I mean, this is a massive show.
The building show's coming up. Construct Canada's coming up. World of Concrete,
everything.
That's in the States, but there's so many individual smaller groups you can get involved with. Just make an effort. Just make an effort.
As simple as that.
Just as simple as that.
That's it. All right, Agnes. Everybody, again, www.nextgenprofessional.com. It's Agnes at nextgenprofessional.com, and it's on Instagram, NextGen Jobs. Also, you'll find them on LinkedIn as well. 12 questions.
Here.
What is your favorite construction word?
BIM. Building Information Modeling. BIM.
What is your least favorite construction word?
Scheduling.
What turns you on in construction?
The final product. Yeah.
What turns you off in construction?
The dirt.
What's your favorite curse word? We've been keeping clean, and if you don't want to swear, you don't have to swear.
My favorite
curse word.
I don't want to swear.
Don't swear then. No, I'm giving people a pass.
Poppycock.
What is it?
Poppycock.
What is your favorite vehicle in the entire world?
Oh, shoot. I drove in it once. It was this beautiful Lincoln. Of course, it was a freaking Lincoln. But it was like a giant SUV Lincoln. Oh, it was gorgeous.
Like
it had
monster?
mahogany. Yeah. Beautiful inserts.
So it was a
seats.
library study with cigar and brandy on wheels.
Yes. That would be ideal.
What is your least favorite vehicle?
My first car.
Which was?
It was a Land Rover Disco from 1996. I carried a $20 bill in my pocket because it broke down at least once a week.
Wow, that's synonymous with Land Rover, no? Sorry. The English don't know how to make those things, but what construction sound or noise do you love?
Constructions? Ugh, not many, I have to admit. Just seeing as we just went through renovations and construction.
Still have.
I've got like PTSD. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, sorry.
Nothing at all? Some people have chosen silence.
I like the sound that compound makes when the slooping noise, like the goopy noise when compound goes on a wall.
Oh, when you're spreading it with a knife?
Yeah, that like goopy mixed with like the like scraping sound.
Yeah.
I like that sound. It's very relaxing.
That's true.
Yeah.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Yeah, than any of the banging. Just like all of it. The sawing, all of it.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
Actually, I am going back to school next year.
To study?
To complete my degree for my master's in psychology. I have a degree in psychology and I major in women's studies. So I would like to continue that work.
Good. What profession would you never want to do?
What profession would I never want to do? I would never want to be a musician. That just seems like a lot of pressure. Like you make me sing and I'm sweating bullets. I couldn't imagine having
the
to
rock and
actually
roll
perform.
lifestyle, the drugs and the roadies and all that.
That is so. I don't go to concerts. Like when you described a cigar lounge, like library on wheels, that's your
stadium.
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I have a library in my house. I have a wine cellar with books in front of it.
Is it walnut? No, it's not walnut.
No. What's the wood? No. But I do have paneled. I have a paneled study. So
Painted.
applied, molding, painted. Yes, study. Yeah, with a fireplace.
And the brandy.
Well, I'm a bourbon drinker, but yes.
There we go.
Woodfords.
There's nothing wrong with that. That was profession. Rock. I'm still getting over musician. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
What would I like to have God say? That's really deep. Like I got it from here. Like, don't worry about it, kid.
Agnes, pleasure always to see you. It's good. It's been too long since I last saw you, so it's great.
I hope to stay connected.
Oh, for sure. And come back anytime. And you got news and you want to share, just come back and we'll talk more on the show.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
I'll probably bump into you. I'll bump into you at the shows there and then and encourage everybody to go and check it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, please do. Come by the Career Hub.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. So everybody, once again, last time, www.nextgenprofessional.com, Agnes at nextgenprofessional.com, and NextGen Jobs on IG and also on LinkedIn. Thank you. We are gone. Thank you, Angelina. All right.